this individually to introduce that. Our next speaker on the program now is Robert Murray. He's going to talk to you about business technology and innovation. But let me first introduce you to him to you. He's married for 27 years to his high school sweetheart, Suzanne. He's got 2 boys, they're 23 and 25 years old. Congratulations on that, Robert. He matriculated in Lichtenburg in the Northwest Province. He studied law, computer science, mathematics, artificial intelligence, and network engineering. He's an extremely innovative person, and his innovations include develop the interbank protocol, the first mobile wallet, the first EBPP platform, multiple token payment platform, an online and mobile lottery engine, a platform for prepaid billing, cardless cash technology for ATM, based bi-directional SMS platform for prepaid billing, and 100+ patents in the world of payment and alternative value methodologies. If you ask Robert what he wants to do, he'll tell you, I'm a passionate technologist and entrepreneur and wish to provide impetus to the digital transformation drive as part of the 4th industrial revolution. Currently focusing on providing accessible systems to SMMEs in the African context in order to solidify the key important role of SMMEs as the foundation of our economy. Through the application of fintech, SMMEs can be more productive and competitive while growing and providing much needed jobs in the new world that we are entering into at the moment. Robert, we're looking forward to what you have to share with us. Thank you.
Thank you for that introduction. I didn't know that you were going to explain to everyone that I'm married to my high school sweetheart, but I am, so it's good. Thank you very much. I'm just going to share my screen as well, and thank you for the opportunity. I'm not going to do a sales pitch. I've worked in this industry, in the financial technology sector, for more than 25 years. And I have, as you can see from my CV, provided these platforms to corporates and multinationals on an international basis. But over the last 3 years, we've realized that the people that's in need of these technologies and the people that actually need it most is not the corporates, because they can invent it or steal it or do with it whatever they like. The small business owner that does not have the capital, does not have the skill or the number of resources to execute, is the people that need this the most. So I want to just create a bit of a scenario for everyone and do a bit of an analysis of where we are currently. And I believe that where we are at this moment, yes, it has created a lot of distress for everyone, small, big businesses, medium businesses. But at the same time, it is creating a lot of opportunity. And before I start with my presentation, I just want to take you back to 2003, when the SARS virus hit China and the Asian countries. Now, at that moment in time, their economical position and their infrastructure was very similar to where we are today. Only big corporates went into e-commerce and mobile commerce platforms at that stage. But because of the lockdown and the risk of getting infected with the SARS virus, that started a whole process in that economy. And that process ended up in a magnificent success stories. But two of them that I'm sure that you will know is Alibaba, the multi-tenant trade platform from China, to allow people to digitally engage from all over the world and purchase and procure their products. And secondly, a more localized platform called WeChat, provided by Tencent, which is of which Naspers owns a substantial stake. And they are today the biggest payment engine in the world. Now, this is 17 years later, but what caused this was they got the wake-up call through the SARS virus. Now we are in actually a version of that virus that we are dealing with today, and our economy and our livelihoods are being touched by exactly the same thing. So I want to just take that into context, and then let me share my screen and go through a short presentation, and then let's do it.
You speak in that house, and then we like to keep it leadership.
Can you all share see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let's look at the landscape today that we are dealing with. So big business have migrated and accelerated the digital migration due to the pandemic and pressure from the consumer. That we can see if we look at what Shoprite and Checkers did with a 60 platform where they're now doing home deliveries of groceries, which is extremely successful. We can also see that consumers are migrating faster than ever before. And this migration, I'm referring to digital migration. I always ask this question: when last have you been to your bank branch? And the reason for that is because you can now digitally engage with it. And then the third thing that I want to just talk about in the landscape is the fact that it creates opportunity at the same time as it is creating massive risk. Now let's talk about the massive risk. We are talking about small and localized businesses. We're talking about the restaurant or even the grocery store at the corner, where you have bought your bread and milk and everything up until now. But now, even though you live right next to that shop, a Shoprite offers you an opportunity to order all your groceries. They'll have it delivered by your doorstep in 60 minutes. What's going to happen to that small trader on the corner? Unfortunately, the hyper-localization is turning into the digital world, which means that small business must now suddenly compete with Shoprite. Although the closest Shoprite store is 10 kilometers away, his competitor is now Shoprite, and that's obviously a massive risk. Let's talk about why do we need to migrate. Big business migration have caused and will cause more distress for small businesses because the traditional hyperlocalization is turning digital. Previously, you had a place in the community because you were close to the community and the community supported you because it was easier to buy the bread and milk or the hardware or whatever they're selling from the guy that's around the corner. But now with big business offering that as an e-commerce service, your whole position in that community is becoming, there's a risk for you because now you must compete with Massmart or Shoprite or whoever else, and that's placing massive pressure on you. The fact that many businesses have closed or will be closing, unfortunately, will bring opportunity to provide products and services in a wider network than you have done before. We've just heard in John and many other speakers' messages that it is bloodshed out there in terms of how businesses are closing and how fast they are closing. And that's unfortunate, but at the same time, that community where that business was previously still needs that service. Now, if as a business can migrate digitally, there's no reason for you not to be able to provide that services in an area where you haven't been before because there's no service provider at that point. Then thirdly, consumers expect digital engagement at the moment. And the fact of the matter is, if you don't provide it, they will find a digital channel somewhere else. And that is exactly why, for instance, the SPAR group is now made their whole process to digitally migrate faster because they are seeing that the franchise holders that's in an area where there's a Checkers delivery model, you are going to run into trouble. Now, luckily, with these big, humongous corporates, their rollout of systems like this will take time. For instance, we have this in Midrand and Gauteng and Centurion, but you don't have it in Hartbeespoort. Although there's a Shoprite Checkers in the mall, you can't order from them and they can't deliver. That immediately creates an opportunity for the businessman in the Hartbeespoort to be able to provide these services. And it's important that they start thinking about these things. many of the things that John spoke about is a cause as a chamber. And a cause as a chamber should be the survival and growth of your members. And if a cause can be to assist and push these people and provide them with alternatives to take their businesses into the digital world, it will be a good cause, because you might save them, but most probably increase their input and increase their output substantially. So let's talk about how you can compete. How can a small business compete with ShopRite Checkers? I advocate participation and migration into a multi-tenant e-commerce and e-commerce platform. Now, the platforms, I couldn't hear everything about the previous speaker, but the one before, it's like, yep. The important thing when you migrate to those platforms, though, is that you need the whole scope of services. So it's easy to put your product online, to get customers to come and buy it, but you need to be able to process the payment. You need to process an EFT payment, you need to process a credit card payment, you need to process a Zapper and a smart pass payment and whatever people use. You need to do that. And secondly, then you need to get the product to the guy that bought it. Now that portion is extremely important. It's not only an advertisement of your product, it is a virtual store. And that virtual store must be fully functional. Unfortunately, that is extremely expensive for small businesses to compete. But my suggestion is partner with people that run these stores, find the right ones, and drive your business to there with serious intent. There again, as chambers, localized chambers, I believe there's opportunities for you to facilitate this, to partner as a grouping with payment systems so that you can provide that service to your whole member base, and partner as groupings with logistic operators to compete with big business. Now, logistic means that courier company or that delivery agent that will pick up the groceries from the Spar and drop it off at my house. You don't want to do that. There's people that do that and that do that well, but build a solution and get together to build these things together. Don't try and do it on your own. You do not have the might or the influence to be able to do that in terms of your capital. So where to begin? We have started talks with some of the chapters that form part of the SPI to facilitate the chapter-based migration by providing marketplaces where the members' products and services can be made available digitally. What we've done is we've registered more than 700 websites, and they called Centurion Marketplace, Midrand Marketplace, or whatever the case might be. And we want to offer these services to all the chapters to say, guys, here is the localized store for your members. To tell them, put your stuff on here and start selling. We will make sure the payment happens and we will make sure that the delivery happens. These elements are normally very expensive to build and manage. The model we follow is to use our current relationship with payment processors, logistic fulfillment services, and businesses in general to make it available for people. So we're not going to ask you money to become part of this platform. We will, if you become a member, we will tell you, listen, when we pick up the product, we will pay you immediately. When we and we will take the delivery and the customer pays for the delivery. It's important that you drive hyper-localization and not say, I'm going to do this on a national scale and not make provision for my consumer in Cullinan or in Centurion or in Midrand or in Randburg. It's still important to retain that, because at the end of the day, if we don't retain that, we are going to lose the value from the community. And that's where we need to keep the value. So hyperlocalization will create jobs and keep value in the ecosystem that creates wealth. For instance, one of our logistic partners here, as we open these marketplaces all over the show, they will create the logistic footprint to do that. Now, that logistic footprint needs drivers, needs operators, and we are following the Uber model on that basis to say, if you have a bakkie or a little vehicle and you want to participate in the marketplace, the delivery will happen. no matter what. The systems are behind it and it will be operational. Now, I also believe the opportunity exists to create partnerships between local businesses marketed as a package. Why can the pool services guy not make a deal with the pool shop that sells the chlorine to say, listen, I'm now going to look after your pool for 350 Rand, but the pool shop on the corner will supply the chlorine, and I'm going to sell this whole package to you for 500 bucks, so your pool is sorted. And that's the product that you market online. It is a partnership between people that can live in a symbiotic relationship. It will also, I believe, the other opportunity, if these chambers that's under your control or that is part of your structures can work together, it might even mean that, let me give you the following example. I have a hardware store in Midrand. My friend Niels has a clothing store in Oudtshoorn. I can list my products for Oudtshoorn in the Oudtshoorn marketplace. Niels can list these products for Midrand in the Midrand marketplace. I will give Niels consignment stock. He will give me consignment stock, which immediately means I've opened a branch in Oudtshoorn, and Niels opened a branch in Midrand. I believe that there's a strong point of getting people together and getting them to work together to make this a success. And it creates opportunity. So let's look at the outcome. Businesses will grow without growing overheads. That's the point. They will increase sales and lower overheads. They will be able to spread into new areas without opening new branches. And they will be able to build reciprocity relating to logistics with other chamber members. I just think there's a real and a very important and urgent drive on this basis. And I'm going to unfortunately use the Kodak example. When the first cell phone cameras came out, they asked the CEO of Kodak that we all grew up with if he's worried about the fact that all cell phones are now going to have cameras in them. His answer was that it is a fad and it will not have an impact on their business. Now, he was unfortunately extremely wrong. Today, Kodak does not make cameras anymore. They actually make cell phone accessories, and they are a 1/10 or 100th of the size that they were when we all grew up. And that's why, and it happened because he did not see what's coming. And this is not fear-mongering. I'm not trying to scare you guys. I'm just giving you the facts. There's a absolute acceleration in digital migration. And you either need to get on the bus or not. And it's important. I'm not advocating to use us, but I'm advocating that you try and influence your members and make them understand the absolute importance of taking business into the digital world. So, in closing, I want to say we are very happy and we will be very happy to assist in your strategy. We see that as a responsibility. Even if you decide not to make use of our services, we will be very happy as an independent to give you advice and to part with the knowledge that we've built up over the last 10 years or 20 years. So, and my last word would be, it is time to take action because the train is leaving the station and people need to get on it. Thank you.
Robert, thank you very much. Are there any questions for Robert? Okay, I don't see any hands. Robert, thank you very much. Listen, I'm one of those that visit my branch still.
Okay, well, fantastic then.
But
it's
thank you very much for
that.
This is the new South Africa, what you're talking about, the new normal. So thank you very much for that insightful presentation.
Thank you.
And it's also good opportunities for the businesses. So I do hope that there's a lot of business people here, and I'm sure they will